some snow. So I don't know. It might be useful. I'm not 100% sure. Also probably have to decide where's the best place to put it. I think maybe it'd be better to put it. I don't know. I will play with it and see. So set up for this. President Pollock is, or not Pollock. Yes, Pollock is coming next week to do a little tour. So these are the. Did you ever have a chance to play with that other one I gave you?
Not really. I looked at it, but I never. Actually have forgotten because when I had it, it was during Spay Labs, and I've had time afterwards, and I just keep forgetting it. I even put it in the middle of the table where we eat lunch, and I don't sit there to eat lunch because I work at my desk. So. Where is this from?
This is a company called Real Life Sim, and now they're making a little, calling it Real Life Sim for these. So they come, the idea is that you strap it on, obviously, to an animal. So this is meant for like horse jugular.
Oh, cool.
And then these really tiny ones. Either you could put on like a cat. To do a cephalic stick or even a saphenous.
Yeah.
Little tiny guys. So that the way they work, so use this little pusher guy. If I figured this out. You feed, so they have different sized vessels. Strap that thing on, and then you can do venipuncture or catheter placement into it. The skin is a little thick.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't.
So I just talked with her yesterday because I got these things like a month ago, but it was in the midst of the disaster with my mom.
Oh yeah.
And the issue with making it thinner is that like these will probably last for about 200 sticks. If they make it thinner, then obviously will last not nearly as long.
I'm trying to poke it.
Do you think it's any worse than the models we have?
The models we have from Colorado, the last ones I got, I like.
Those are the ones where the legs are just pointing straight out.
Yeah, the
Okay,
black ones.
the black
black.
ones.
Yeah.
How much do they cost?
$300.
So these are a lot cheaper.
They are a lot cheaper.
And the idea is you could have a bunch of them for,
Right.
and you could even use them with the live dogs to sort of just. put them
Yeah,
on the
I would
dog
like to
and-
poke it and see
Yeah,
how
yeah.
realistic. I mean, because that's a big vessel.
Yeah, so there are obviously.
There are
so
small-
are
there are
small
small
ones.
ones.
Yeah, so.
It just seems. I don't know.
That's. I think this is meant more for the. Oh, it's 6 inch. I guess that's.
I mean, this is
Yeah, this is actually probably the one.
so. Seems like this is going to be really tough to get through. Have you poked one yet?
Mm-hmm.
Is it? How does it? The needle go through?
It's definitely tougher than I would like.
Those legs I have from Colorado. The thing I like about them is they're the most realistic things we've had yet.
Yeah.
The feel of it, you know, feeling the way the vessel feels. The skin is, I mean, obviously nothing is going to be like the real thing, but
Right,
I
right,
feel
right.
that they're the closest.
Yeah. Excuse me, I feel like there's not one that's the right size for this.
tries, what is it, first week of August is when we're doing this. Can try.
So you have, they're high school students you said
Yeah.
who are coming in? And it's for, what is it for?
Whatever that summer high school program is that they do every year. I didn't actually say I would do this. My boss said we're doing this.
It's not the summer college? Because the summer college is over. So
Yes, no, they're high school kids, and I don't know if they're just from around this area. I don't know if it's another one of those 4-H things.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think they're city kids that have come up for this thing.
Got it.
I guess it's still 4-H, but it's not local kids. So, I mean, we could certainly, that would be a good time to try them out.
Or you weren't planning on using real dogs, I assume, for...
Not for that part, no. We're going to use our fake legs. Yeah, that's realistic.
Not bad. There's the problem. I was talking with her about because we played with them. Like, there's the idea for this thing is it's supposed to be you get a little flash from these, but obviously there's almost nothing in here, so you just get a flash.
Just get a flash.
I think really their idea is they are trying to make something cheap
Yeah.
that you can buy a lot of, so that that's the idea is rather than having one model that everybody has to line up and get to, that there could be a whole bunch of these, and that you can put them on either mannequins or real dogs,
Yeah.
so they could sort of start with everything steady and then they could
I
work
guess
their way
this
out.
would be something that maybe we would use in the practice lab.
Yeah.
I think for the labs that we do, I don't know that I would like them for that. We have, or will have 6 legs. And you have to replace the tubes and sometimes the skin. But they get us through usually at least 2 labs before we have to replace the vessels.
And the skin holds up? Or you replace the skin as well?
We do replace the skin, not as often as you have to replace the vessels. I've had to replace the skin because I have students who, when they go to cut the bandage off, they cut the skin. So, it's a little worrisome in itself.
22s and 18s. She said 20s not the ideal. Can't see.
You can't see the bevel. I
It's
know. I
really
have that
upsetting.
same problem.
So I like the ones that have the little thing that I can palpate. It's not too bad actually. I'm actually in.
Seems like it.
Tell. Let's see if
I know. That's the other hard part is you don't know if you're in.
Well, that's the point of the fluid being in there, that you would get a flash, but I sucked all the fluid out when I was.
So you would have to almost change this vessel every student or every couple.
If
You
so,
want them to get
so what she was saying was it's very easy to just inject more
Oh, okay.
into it, which I think makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
So how much are these and how much are the vessels, do you know?
Yeah, it's a good question. They're just we just started. These are all just beta units that just sent us to play with and give them feedback on. So one of the things that would be awesome is if you play with them a little bit. There's a link on here to their web form to give them feedback about them, which is one of the main.
Whoa,
Sorry.
hey!
But that actually didn't feel too bad.
No?
I was thinking about taking this size with me to NAVC because I'm doing a CPR lab and putting them on a Jerry and having for one of the scenarios have them actually
Put the
have
catheter
to
in.
place a catheter. That would be good because
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think for the CPR labs it's one of the places that something like this would be useful
Mhm.
because I think the Jerry model is just not very good for trying to practice that.
Yeah, I think that would be good. That I think that would be very useful tool for that sort of thing.
Where do you put the catheter? I wonder. Yeah, I think it would have to. We'd have to connect one of these guys up to a line so we could inject into it and
Yeah.
stuff. But I feel like that wouldn't be that difficult. So one of those Hoover adapters. And then I talked to her about, I said I really think it would be useful to, have some of the vessels that just have an adapter on them, so you can hook them up to
Yeah.
a bag, and then
Yeah.
then you can get more of a flash. And,
Yeah.
and you're not doing any large animal stuff, I assume, anytime soon.
Not until August.
I think this size is probably, I'm not sure what. Okay, so this. So then there was this thing. I gave you this too for the other one that you can actually then attach. Let me figure out which one of these this works with. Yeah, this one. So let's see. I'm going to try this. I have no idea how this works. Follow the user instructions on what to think. Let's just see. I like how there are these links on here that do me no good because it's a printed piece of paper. Statistics link is available on the Vet Real Life Sim page, which also I would like to point out is nowhere on here.
Oh, good.
Vet. VetRealLifeSim.com is for sale. That's good.
Maybe we should buy it.
Here's a word instruction link is available on the Vet Real Life Sim page. Maybe they should probably put that link in this instruction sheet. What? John, I'm not John. Pictures. Here's a brief video of actual demonstration of platforms. All instructions and surveys are on the website. That's great. What the hell is the website? Why is there no link? Jesus. It shouldn't be this difficult.
I think they need,
bgdieeducational.com.
I think they need a better website. Somebody to work on their IT. Oh. I don't think they probably had permission to do that, did they?
No, I'm hoping no one notices.
Oh, somebody will.
I know, and I'm just keep it quiet.
I won't say a word.
Contrary products. demo. How do I get the actual app? Oh, it's available for Apple and for Android download. For Apple, follow the user guide instruction on our website. Instructions on this website. We will share.
Double A? Do we have it over here? I might have some. I'll look over here. I have some in the practice lab. I'll be back. See if you can get that.
I'm trying.
Apparently, I don't have enough body heat to turn the lights on.
Follow the user guide instructions.
Oh, there we go. Is it go out?
Follow user guide instructions for new participant. RLSIM app instructions to activate app functions.
I did my job. I got batteries.
I just emailed her and I was like, the instructions say look at the instructions. which doesn't say anything about where to get the app. Can you help me?
That was helpful.
So hopefully she'll call. Let's see. No, it's not in the App Store.
You're an engineer. Can't you just figure it out?
Poor design. Poor design. Sure. It's from Spark Fun. Everything good comes from Spark Fun. So it's probably just there was something she said about if you go too deep or something, like this thing will tell you that and it records it, but without the app it's a little hard to test that whole idea. Do you have any some of these little adapters that you can plug in that then have a lure adapter on the other side.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I don't know if I still have any of those. I can go look. We had some, but I think.
Okay, you probably hijack one.
No, we don't. I had like one for a bottle. Is that what you're talking about? Like for a drug bottle?
No,
No,
it's
not that.
it's got a lure adapter so that you can just hook extension tubing or
Oh.
stuff like that up to it.
We used to have one of those, or a couple of those too. Let me go look. I do know what you're talking about. to electrocute them. So if you put the wrong thing on the wrong shelf, you get zapped.
Oh my.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you, good sir?
All right. How are you?
All right. Patty, have you received either of the computers that were supposed to have been ordered in the last couple of weeks?
Nope.
Not yet.
No.
Check back later.
I'm still functioning without a computer in my office. Well, I have a computer. I'm trying to function with what I have, and we've never gotten the one for the practice lab.
Okay. Well, they should be ordered and arriving very soon.
Okay. I just am not coming back to work until I have a computer that works in my office.
Okay, I'll
Just gonna
tell
lay
them.
by the pool.
I am, too. I've decided I'm not coming back to work and fight without everything every day.
Your desktop is just old and crappy. Okay.
And the email doesn't really work on it. I'm getting through emails between my phone and going into Outlook the back way. But it's still, it's so slow. And sometimes I can send stuff and sometimes
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yep.
The other question so I have a meeting with Jody on Friday. I've been sort of working through a bunch of stuff with her, and one of them is what we talked about in terms of the practice lab.
Mm-hmm.
So my question for you is, have you given any thought to what might be high value auto tutorial stations we could set up in there? And what do we have in terms of video resources and things?
Well, that's one of the computers she's talking about. We're getting a computer for
Yeah.
in there that we're supposed to have for a while. So then they could access the Block 7 website that has, and I have, honestly, I have to look at what they all have.
Yeah.
In some way.
Right.
So I think it would be helpful if they like I have old monitors set up in there so that they can take blood pressure and either themselves or to bring their dog in or whatever. No Doppler though, we don't have a Doppler. What else did I guess I'd set it up so they could do an SpO2 reading on themselves.
Okay.
With and then, we have the venipuncture models, the suture models. Have you seen the new suture models that Carolyn's got Mike making?
I haven't. I think she's using the same recipe as I've used to build them before, so I think I do know what they are. But are you happy with them or not happy with them?
I only have done the first one that he made, and I did not like that, but I don't think he made the top layer thick enough.
Okay.
And I haven't tried any of he's made several more after that, and I haven't tried any of those to see if they work.
And he's doing it with that power stretch fabric in the skin,
Yes.
so that you can catch the skin.
Yeah.
Because I assume she's wanting them to do intradermals, to practice intradermals.
I guess, I tried an intradermal on the one that he made, and it didn't work all that well. So maybe as he's made them thicker, maybe it would work a little better. I think her main idea is to have those in the practice lab, and for us to use those instead of the ones we bought in there. So anything, they could practice intradermals, their suture patterns, all that. so that's pretty much basically the patterns they need to know. Practice their Miller's knots and all that sort of thing. So we have some little tubes in there that can pretend to be vessels.
And are they, so the, just trying to think about what, so the, we have a, so you would envision them, what, are they learning that on their own and then they come into lab to do it, or
Well,
are they?
they're supposed to look at the website before they come
Okay.
to lab. It's obvious that many of them do not.
Okay.
So
And then they come into lab and that's where they learn it from
that's where they
someone.
learn it with instruction. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's a little tough because as you're learning that the first time, and there's 2 people in there going through all those students.
Right.
And the one first year lab that we have, there are 50 students at a time.
Yeah.
And so we've started for that one. We've started using Dr. Fabini's course was going at that time, surgery course, and we
Mhm.
started using students from them to help out because that wasn't working with 2 people. So then they are expected to practice on their own, so that when they get to the next every lab they have on that, it's like a step up. They learn something more.
Mhm.
So we have some stuff in there to practice the 3-clamp technique with. We've also made new uteri, if you will, to use for that,
Okay.
which are nice. However, yeah, I'm a little torn on that because obviously nothing is going to be like the real thing, and we're spending a lot of time and money making those, and I'm not sure there's any advantage to that over Penrose machine. But
It would be a good question to ask.
so we'll see, I guess, as they do that the first time and see how we think they. I don't know how you would judge that, because I guess asking the students afterwards, did you think that this was close enough to the real thing?
Yeah, I mean, there's the subjective approach, and then there's the objective approach, where you give half of them the Penrose
Right.
model and half of them the high fidelity model, and then you see how they do in
Right.
surgery. The only question is, what would be what is it you're assessing in surgery?
Yeah.
Like how fast they do it, or
Right,
or
and so
you
it's so
or you
hard to-
ask them immediately after the surgery how similar was this to.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, the reality is, if it doesn't make a difference in terms of their ability to do the task, it doesn't really matter.
And I don't see how it's going to really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things I think it's worth paying the money to get these, higher end models for.
Right.
And some things I don't. Luckily, Mike has free time in the summer, so it's been okay.
Right.
But during the semester, he does not have time to be. And it's time consuming because he has to let things sit and then go back to it, and
Right.
has to get back to it at a certain time,
Yeah.
and the stuff is not all that cheap.
Right.
It's not horrible, but when you're talking about making it for 120 students,
Right.
and then of course you got to make more than that because you're going to have some that are going to have to repeat the test.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little torn on that, whether I think that's really going to be
I think this entire